Girl Sunshine here, back at you with another video. All right. Hello, hello, hello. I know it's late night. You can catch this video tonight or first thing in the morning. Okay, tomorrow is Saturday, so it's okay. It's okay. You ain't got nothing to do. Okay, it's Friday and you ain't got to do. Okay, so let's get into the messiness. Okay, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are not already subscribed. Okay, I definitely want to come on here and do this video about the updates involving the Nolan Wells case. Yes, I am still posting about it because things every day or every week, things are getting juicier and juicier when it comes to this case. I mean, us YouTubers, more like the other YouTubers, okay? But I'm going to just post what they've been saying, okay? I'm going to help them spread the message, all right? But the YouTubers are out here doing their doggone thing when it comes to cracking the case and let's finding out what happened to Nolan. Now, we don't know exactly what happened to Nolan, but we know that some folks out here been telling some stories, okay? Like, you know, your mom said you can't say lies. You have to say fib. They've been out here fibbing or telling stories. When I'm grown, I'm going to say lies, okay? Lies. Blatant lies. And you know how we know? Because we caught them in lies. Y'all, let me talk about the mess that has come out involving the Nolan Wells case. First of all, speaking about Nolan Wells, this interview is mostly geared towards like all the information that's coming out and piecing everything together and creating this whole big awareness of what could have possibly happened to Nolan Wells on that day, July 4th, 2026. Right? So the mom has did an interview right after they had the press conference a couple days. That wasn't yesterday? Was that yesterday? I think that was yesterday. I watched that full video because I hadn't watched the full video. I just saw clips of it. But I watched the full video, y'all. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This case, I see why it's on hold right now. I see why it's on ice. Because it's clear that some lies have been told, which would make one suspicious of a crime. But the YouTubers are definitely doing their thing out here, okay, posting all types of stuff. There's this one girl or lady. Her name is Pink Panda. I think her name is J Megan. She's out here killing the game. And she's a white girl, a woman. Okay, I don't know how old she is. She looks young. But I don't want to be disrespectful in any type of way and make her less of a woman. I'm going to just call her a woman. But there's a woman, J Megan. Y'all. Folks want to say, oh, it's this whole racial thing. It's all about all the black people are against all the white people. No, that is not what it is, okay? Mississippi has a criminal history. They have a reputation of not handling cases involving black people well. They have a reputation of taking out black people, hanging black people. You know, that's kind of what Mississippi is known for in the black community. Okay, and really, if it's in our community, it's in our history. It's in everyone's history. It's not just our history. So when people say that, oh, we're being racist, people are being racist because they bring up racism and how it is a huge thing, how can you overlook it if it's something that happens? If someone is a thief and they steal from the store or they steal from everywhere they go, you can't take them nowhere. Would you consider them a thief? Or would you not consider them a thief? You gotta call them a thief, because if they go somewhere and they're with you, something gets missing, comes up missing, and then here we go. Everybody don't want you to come around because you with that thief. Okay? If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a damn duck. And I don't care if you don't like it. You are the duck, Mississippi. It's not funny at all. You have to laugh to keep from crying, okay? So anyway, J Megan, the nerdy pink panda, okay, has been killing the game. Killing the game. She's been spreading so much information regarding this case. She's been staying on their necks. She done caught so many stuff in the interview. I done watched the interview, and something told me to watch it twice, but I ain't really had the time to watch it twice. So I was like, I'm not watching it twice, not knowing that it was so many pieces of information in that interview. And oh my goodness, I really should have watched it twice, but that's all right. Pink Megan, is it Pink Megan? The nerdy pink panda, J Megan, she watched the video however many times. She caught a lot of discrepancies that the so-called friends have put out there, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to bring it up tonight on my channel. That's what I'm here to talk about tonight. Let's get into it, okay? So anyway, like I said, Christine and her husband, Elmore, they did the interview after the press conference with some channel or whatever. There was a lady, she interviewed them, Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump. She asked some great questions. She asked about what happened on that fateful night. I don't know why I'm calling it fateful night. I don't know if that applies to something negative or if that's something positive. I don't even talk like that. I don't know where these words be coming from. Okay? But on that night, July 4th, the host asked Christine, how did she end up finding out that Nolan was missing? So she says that her and her sister, they were cooking one of their traditional dishes, and they didn't really have anything planned. They were just fixing some food. Her sister said, "Where's Nolan?" And then Christine thought about, oh yeah, I haven't heard from Nolan. And so she said she reached out, she tried to call him. He didn't answer his phone. Then she said she just went on about her business, kept, entertaining or whatever. Then she said she looked at her, when she looked back at her phone, she realized she had a missed call around 10ish, but she made the call around 9ish. She had the missed call around 10ish. So when she called the number back, it was 11:07. On the phone, on her phone, it said missed call, maybe Warren. So she calls Warren, like, why is Warren calling me? She calls Warren. Warren said, oh yeah, hi, Miss Christine, have you spoken to Nolan? And she says, no, Nolan left with y'all. I thought he was with y'all. And Warren tells her, oh no, it's okay, but we were worried about Nolan because we left him on the island with some girl and we haven't seen him. And Miss Christine is like, okay, it's 10 o'clock at night. They left at 11 a.m. that morning. So you tell me what she probably thinking in her head. What the hell is my son, right? So she's panicking. She's stressed. She's trying to figure things out. Warren says, well, I'm going to call the Coast Guard because I know someone with the Coast Guard and they can look into some things, maybe check out there on the water to see if he's out there still. So now she's even more panicking, and she's like, oh my goodness, well, I'm going to call him or I'm going to look up his phone. So then Warren tells her, oh, I have his phone. He left it in my car. So Miss Christine is like, you have his phone? And he says, yes. So now she's even more worried. It's 11 something at night. He's been gone for about 12 hours at this point. She hasn't seen him because he spent the night before at someone's, at I believe Jack's house, but I'm not sure yet. We haven't gotten that far. So she hadn't even seen him since probably the day before, right? So now she's like, oh my goodness, you have his phone. So he doesn't have his phone, which means he doesn't have a way to make a phone call, to call her or to call anyone, right? So they get off the phone somehow. She contacts a police department. That police department tell her that she's out of their jurisdiction. So she has to contact another police officer. I mean, a police department. So she went and told her husband. Now he's involved. So they leave the house. They went to the closest hospital to see if Nolan was there. He wasn't there. They go to another police department, the next one in the following county, and they like, oh no, we no, we can't get involved. That's out of our jurisdiction. Like it's nothing. Like it's not a big matter. So she calls the other police department and she tells them, oh, they're saying they can't help. We're out of their jurisdiction. So that police department speak with on her phone, the police department that she's on the phone with speak to the people at the police department that she's at. Okay? They communicate. The people who are on her phone from that police department, they say, oh, well, we're going to take over the case because they can't handle it. So somehow they end up getting an officer to meet her and her husband in a parking lot to take the case, to take the report. Y'all hear what I'm saying? In a damn parking lot. Okay? So they go to this parking lot. They meet the police officer. They give the report. The police officer doesn't care, she says. He's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll look into it. We'll investigate it. Right? So the police officer, somehow, that police department ends up warning them, the friends, right? The friends tell the police department, or the people at the police department, that everything is okay. He's fine. He was pretty much okay. So let me make sure I make this clear. I don't know how they worded what they said, but the report came out that the police investigated by asking the friends about the last time they saw Nolan, and they told the police that Nolan, the last time they saw Nolan, he was hugged up with some unknown girl that they did not know. And apparently they made it clear to the police that it wasn't no big thing. It wasn't a huge thing. He's probably okay, because the police said that they didn't think it was an emergency once they talked to the friends, because the friends made it clear that Nolan was with this unknown girl. Y'all hear what I'm saying right now? Are y'all putting together, are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So the police speak with the friends. The friends speak with the police and make it clear to them, or make the police feel like it's not an emergency. There's nothing really wrong. Nolan's probably just out there with some girl, or just with some girl, hanging out, chilling, even though Warren was concerned, so he called Christine. Christine was concerned while she was on the phone with with Warren, because Nolan doesn't even have his cell phone. And they don't know how he got home, well, how he got or where he at. They didn't know where he was at because the last time the friend saw him, he was on the island. And it's 11 o'clock p.m. at night. So they know he's not still on the island. But where is Nolan? So Nolan's parent says that that's not like him to not call, to go hang out with someone for that long and not contact his family, and to not have his cell phone or somebody's phone to make a phone call, right? So anyway, so Warren says he's at his girlfriend's house at this time when he calls Miss Christine, right? He's at his girlfriend's house. Her name is Ava. Remember, he said in the first interview with Officer Tatum that he was at his girlfriend's house because she had a 4th of July party after the whole boat outing, right? And he said he was talking to her dad the whole night, right? So he tells Miss Christine that Nolan's phone was in his truck, right? So, of course, Warren says Nolan's phone is in his truck and is with him, right? Because his truck is with him. This is what he tells Miss Christine. So, in the interview, the last interview that Nolan, Jax, and what is his name? Is it? And Morgan and the lawyer, they did this interview just recently with Officer Tatum. And they're telling what happened that night. Not what could have happened to Nolan, but where they were at, the things that went on that night, right? Let's see here. So in the interview, Officer Tatum, he asked Warren if he was at the house, if he was at Jackson's house or Jack's house on the 4th of July around this time, 11 on up till 1 a.m. And Warren says, no, he was not at Jack's house, right? Because remember, he told Officer Tatum in the first interview that he was at his girlfriend Ava's house, right? Listen, y'all, pay attention. So Jack says, so no, Morgan was the boy with the white shirt on who did the interview, who was in the interview, right? So in the interview, Officer Tatum asked Warren if he was at the house when they came to get the phone. Now, they is some people who, I guess, when Miss Christine found out realized that Nolan was missing, I guess everything got out somehow. I don't know if it came from Miss Christine's end or if it was just circulating on Snapchat from the friends' end. But somehow some other friends of Nolan found out that Nolan was missing and they were upset. And I believe they got in touch with Miss Christine. And then they end up going to Jack's house where supposedly Jax, Morgan, and allegedly Warren was at. They were at, all those boys was at Jack's house. Now remember, Warren said he wasn't there because in the first interview with Officer Tatum, he said he was at his girlfriend's house. Well, let's just listen, okay? And y'all could go back and watch the video, which I should have did myself, but that's all right, because we're on it, right? So All those, so it was like a group of 10 to 15 boys. They spoke with Miss Christine. They went over to Jack's house to get information about where Nolan was at. So this is what I'm bringing up here. So Morgan, the boy with the white shirt on, he says they came to get the phone, and he told them no. So Morgan says he got a phone call from someone they went to high school with, who was asking where's Nolan and what was their location, where they was at, meaning they was at Jack's house. And the boy who contacted them on Snapchat, he asked he contacted Morgan and said, where's Nolan? We know Nolan was with y'all. Where is he? And Morgan told them that he's not with us. We don't know where he's at. And then the boys called, they asked him for the address for where they were at Jack's house. And Morgan gave them the address to Jack's house. So, of course, the boys went over there, right? So he told them the address. They came over there. Jack says 10 to 15 people he didn't know was all up in his face asking for Nolan's phone. They gave it to them, and they gave them the address of where the boat was at, because remember, they went out on the boat. So now the people are asking where's the boat. I don't know if they think Nolan's still on the boat, or if they want to see if there's some evidence on the boat. But did y'all hear what I said? So the people, so the boy who reached out to Morgan, him and 14 other people came to Jack's house, just appeared there and bogarted them. And they were demanding, where's Nolan? Where's Nolan's phone? And and Jack said he gave them Nolan's phone. Now, remind you, I said not too long ago, Warren called Miss Christine and told her that he had Nolan's phone in his car with him. He said he had Nolan's phone and it was in his car. So, and he told Officer Tatum that he was not at Jack's house. He was at his girlfriend's house, Ava. Okay? And then Jax came out and said that he gave the people Nolan's phone. So how the phone go from being over here to now it's over there? Is Warren lying about where he was at that time when he called Miss Christine, or did he leave Ava's house and went right over to Jack's house? Because what he didn't do was say, "Oh well, that so I left after I talked to Miss Christine. I went to Jack's house because of everything that was going on." No, he didn't say that. He said he was not. He said he was at Ava's house, and his phone was with him. And Nolan's phone was with him. And then somehow the phone appeared at Jack's house, and that's where the 10 to 15 people showed up at, and they came and retrieved Nolan's phone and got the address to where the boat was at. Now, the boat was at somebody's granddad's house. And I think that was Jack's granddad's house, because I think that was Jack's granddad's boat that they used that night, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so Jack's, Morgan, and somebody else, a mystery person, which I believe was Warren, but since the other two boys peeped that Warren had made it clear he wasn't at the house, they said, oh, well, Morgan said, well, me and Jax and another one of our friends, we went to Jack's granddad house where the boat was at, and we called the police because all those people who came to Jack's house went over there to where the boat was at, the house where the boat was at. And so they called the police because they didn't want anything to happen to their family member. I'm talking about the Nolan Wells case. What's up, Dwight? Yeah, so it's new evidence and the it's new information that has come out. So the friends have been saying that they didn't have anything to do with anything, but they have been caught up in the biggest lies with the S, okay, with the IES, okay, ever. And to me, I'm thinking, why did the lawyer, and I got something to tell y'all about the lawyer, y'all. Oh my goodness, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and say it because I'm so excited to tell. I can't even hold it back anymore. So the lawyer that's representing the friends is the same lawyer, y'all, that represented Joe McCann. It's nice to see you too. Nice that you on my live, Dwight. Do y'all remember who Joe McCann was? Joe McCann was the guy who went to Tanzania with Ashley Janae Robinson, and then she came up deleted. That's the same lawyer. He represented Joe McCann. He represented Trump as well, but he represented Joe McCann, and now he's representing the friends of Nolan Wells. Do y'all remember how serious that case was that just got swept up under the rug? Which makes me feel like if we don't keep talking about this situation, this case is going to just get swept up under the rug. The whole fact that the police department and all of Mississippi have not told the family, given them any information about what has happened to their son, not even the medical examiner. They don't even know what the autopsy findings were. Okay, they had to get an independent autopsy in order to find something out. And then by that time, for some reason, because it seemed like that was fairly quick to me, but for some reason, Nolan's body was badly decomposed to the point where you couldn't even tell if he had any bruises or marks on his body because his body was so decomposed. And I thought that was strange because at that time, it hadn't even been that long. But I don't know if it's because his body was in water and then taking out the water, if that's why his body decomposed so quickly. But anyway, I thought that's very strange. It explains why that lawyer is so cocky and, he's, to me, he's aggressive. Okay? On there in the interview with his hands crossed talking about, we're not going to take this. We're not taking this. Okay? And anyone who has anything to say about these good boys, okay, these fine gentlemen, then they're going to have to deal with us. And he's the lawyer that represented Joe McCann. I don't even have my nails done. They look a mess. Okay, I got two long nails. These two broke. The nail polish is coming off. These are my real nails. My nails look a mess. But thank you, Dwight. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I be cracking myself up. OMG. Oh my gosh, Becky. Oh my goodness. So anyway, so they went over to Wyatt's house. So that was Wyatt's granddad house. Okay, not Jack's granddad. As Wyatt's granddad. Y'all, and I gotta wait till y'all ain't even heard nothing yet. Okay, if you haven't heard already, we talking about it tonight. Okay, so Jax, some mystery boy, which I believe was Warren, and Morgan all went to Wyatt's granddad house where the boat was at, because the 10 to 15 people all went over there. And Morgan, he called the police and sent the police over there to the house because he said he didn't want anything to happen to Wyatt's parents, because they were there and they didn't know about what was going on at the time. So anyway, they went to the house and the 10 to 15 people were there, and I think they were leaving by the time they got there to the house. The 10 to 15 people, they were leaving by the time Jax, Morgan, and this mystery person, probably Warren, allegedly, got there. So they called the police department. They so so this was all around about 1:30ish a.m. So at the same time when this was going on, around 1:30ish, where the 10 to 15 people went to Wyatt's house, Wyatt's granddad house where the boat was at, to just, I guess see what type of evidence would be on the boat. I'm not even sure if they were able to look at the boat or what. But why haven't that information been given out? Why haven't we heard about how all these people went over to the granddad house to look at the boat? I hadn't heard anything about all that. That sounded like it was a whole mess because the police was called. And I don't remember hearing anything about that. I remember hearing that people went over to the house, but I thought that was Warren's house. But come to find out, it was actually Jack's house. They went there first, and then they left and went to Wyatt's house, or his family house. I don't know if that's his granddad's house or his parents' house or what. Anyway, so at the same time, just around 1 a.m., 1:30 in the morning, and at the same time, Miss Christine and her husband were meeting the police officer in a parking lot around 1:30ish a.m. getting the so I guess by the time the boys left Wyatt's house, went back to Jack's house, then that's when the police came or something and investigated to find out where Nolan was at. And that's why they didn't send the Coast Guard out that night, because when the police talked to the boys made it seem like Nolan was hooked up. Nolan was hanging out with this unknown girl, this mystery girl. And so they didn't go out and do like any type of search, even though the parents know that Nolan is missing. No one knows where he's at. They're like, we need to get some people out there to look on the island tonight. The police didn't go out because they talked to the friends, and the friends made them feel like everything was okay. He was just with this girl hanging out. So, you see what I'm saying here? Warren calls Christine because he's worried about where Nolan is at. And then he talks to the police and tell them, "Oh, everything's fine. They're good. I mean, he's good. Nolan's good. He's just hugged up with that girl still. He's probably hanging out with her." At the same time, Warren told Miss Christine, Nolan's mom, that he didn't know where Nolan was at. He was going to contact the Coast Guard. And he waited about 30 minutes to an hour before he even contacted the Coast Guard. Well, the Coast Guard posted on July 9th that they had not talked to anyone, not Warren, not Christine, about anything. And then had to retract their statement, and they came back out and said that, "Oh no, we did talk to someone about Nolan Wells being missing." So remember what I said. When Warren called Miss Christine, he told Miss Christine that that he knew that he was going to contact someone with the Coast Guard because he knew someone who worked with the Coast Guard. So what it looks like is he made a phone call to someone that was like an unauthorized phone call, maybe call somebody's cell phone who works with the Coast Guard versus actually calling the Coast Guard so they could make a report so things could be reported. So then when the Coast Guard realized, oh, a call was made to such and such person, then they had to retract their statement and come back out and say, oh no, someone did talk to the friends or the family that night around 12ish. So they're saying, so they came back out, retracted their statement, and said that they spoke to someone around 12ish. Mind you, Warren spoke with Miss Christine at 11:07. I'm pretty sure that phone call didn't last long. But anyway, the Coast Guard is saying that they spoke to someone around about 12:30ish, which I'm thinking Warren. It took Warren about 30 something minutes to call. In my opinion, this is alleged. I don't know. I'm thinking it took Warren about 30 something minutes before he called the Coast Guard to find out if they could go out there and look for Nolan, even though they didn't go out there looking for Nolan until the next day, later on the next day, because in the interview that Miss Christine and her husband did yesterday, yesterday, after the press conference, they told that host who interviewed them that Miss Christine's husband, Nolan's stepdad or dad, he said, of course, his friends from college reached out to him that night and said, well, first thing in the morning, we could gas the boats up and we could go out there. Y'all could come out there with us on our boats and we could go out there and look for Nolan. And so that's what they did. So Miss Christine, her husband, and her husband, old classmates, they all went. Miss Christine and her husband went on her husband's classmates' boats because they didn't have boats. And they went out there on the island, on Horn Island, and they walked the whole island. They rowed the boat all the way around the island to find out if they could see anything, see Nolan, see any evidence of Nolan. Also, y'all, I forgot to tell y'all. Okay, I forgot. So when Miss Christine spoke with Warren, she asked Warren, what did Nolan have on? Because, of course, if you have a missing person, you need to know what they're wearing, right? Warren told Miss Christine that Nolan had on a shirt, some colored shirt, and black shorts. Don't we know that Nolan had on blue shorts? Light blue at that. Could that just be an accident that he just clearly forgot what color shorts Nolan had on that night, that day? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that Warren was playing both sides because of his privilege, and I'm going to just keep it real. He was able to play the Coast Guard and somehow let them know what was going on, but at the same time, the Coast Guard didn't go out there to check and see what had happened, to see if it was a body out there or to see if Nolan was stuck on the island. They didn't do that until later on the next day. He was able to call Miss Christine, but Miss Christine wasn't with the BS. Okay? Because when she was talking to Warren, she made it the way you could tell that she didn't believe anything Warren was saying. And when she was talking to him, whatever he was saying on that phone, she did not believe. And you could tell by her demeanor that she was just like, no, I got to see what's going on with my child. I got to call the police department. I need to call the Coast Guard or whatever. Anyway, so the following day, this is July 5th, Early that morning, they all the Nolan's mom and family, they go out there, they search the island. Miss Christine said she walked the whole island. She said it was long. She said she walked the whole island back and forth. They even rode on the boat all the way around the island multiple times, looking for Warren, looking for Nolan, looking for clues about Nolan. And she said she was on her cell phone the whole time talking to her mom because her mom was upset and her mom couldn't be there. So I don't know where her mom is at, but her mom wasn't um her mom was on the phone with her the whole time, and she said that she had clear service the whole time she was out there on Horn Island. So y'all check this out, right? This gonna be the kicker right here. If it ain't already been a couple kickers, okay? And I know it's long. I know it's long, but if this case interests you, then you understand that we just clearing some shit up, okay? We're getting to the point. We're up here cracking a case. Okay? Cases get long and drawn out. You know what? I might have should have worked for somebody investigative services or something. Anyway, so I lost my thought. Where I was going. Oh my goodness. Okay. So remember Warren made it clear that to Officer Tatum that the service in the last interview with the other boys, Warren said that the service was so bad. I didn't even peep this, that he had said this, y'all. This just went right over my head. I didn't even notice he said this. In the last interview he did with Morgan and Jax, he was talking so much that he said this, y'all. He said the service out there is so bad. It's hard to have service out there, so people are not really on their phone out there. They have their phone, but you can't really use it because the service is so bad. He said he tried to call his mom at least 8 times, and he couldn't get in touch with her, probably because the service was bad. But he said that either the service was bad or she was just in a bad location because she was on the south side of the island. Did y'all catch that? I didn't even catch that. He said that. So his mom was out there on the island on July 4th. She was out there on Horn Island. So if you don't understand where I'm going with this, so in the pictures of Warren and all the rest of the boys, right? Well, I mean, some of them you can make out, some of them you can't. So in the picture of Warren on the boat with multiple guys, young men, right? It's like two girls you can see it's two girls, but you can't see their face. You can't really see all of their body, but it's two girls on there. One girl is in a one female is in a striped red and white. It's not a bathing suit because it has shorts and like a almost like a kind of like a shirt. It's not like a bikini, you know, which young girls will wear a bikini. They have young, nice bods, you know. But this one person has like a little short set on. It's not really like a bikini at all. It's more like a top and then like some shorts, like short shorts or whatever. So folks are thinking that Warren's mom was on that boat in that picture that's circulating where you see them on the boat, looks like they're being towed. Oh, I got to get to that part. Looks like they're being towed because there's a rope that's connecting, but you don't know where the rope is going to. You can only see the picture. It's a short clip of a video. Looks like the boat is moving, and you can see a rope on there, but it's two females on there, but you can't really make out the females at all. But knowing that Warren's mom was out there on the water makes me feel like a cover up may have been had. Because think about it. They're on the phone with the CETO people, right? And in the background, you hear a whole lot of mess going on. I mean, if you believe the recordings that have been played, then you heard that people are in the background saying, Nolan, Nolan, is he dead? Is he dead? He's dead. Wake the fuck up. Wake the F up. You hear all this in the background, right? So Warren says that, of course, he kept trying to call his mom, and he kept trying to call his mom about 8 times. Why he kept trying to call his mom 8 times, and he's out there with all his friends drinking and partying? You probably thinking, oh, because the boat is sinking, right? Well, let's get to it. Let's get right into it. I think this is gonna be the last little part right here. So Jack says, and this is all in the interview, y'all. Everything I'm saying is pretty much in Officer Tatum's interview, the last interview he did with all three boys and the lawyer. So it's not alleged because everybody's saying all this right on camera, as if people are not going to go back and pick through it and find, and discrepancies just like we have. But anyway, so in that last interview, Jack says to Officer Tatum that Warren was on the phone with Cito, and he says he does like this. He says, well, Warren was on the phone with Cito, and he's like, yeah, they asking me all these stupid questions. And then he says that they figured out they got the engine working, and so they stopped getting the tow. They didn't need to get the tow anymore, and then so they just left and they went somewhere else. So hold up. So all this time we're thinking that there was a problem with the boat, right? The boat was sinking, right? It was in 31 feet of water and it was sinking. Water was coming in. They were sinking, right? So now you're trying to tell us that the boat got fixed real quick while he was on the phone with the people. So he hung up on the phone with the people because, well, with the lady, Miss Vicky, ain't her name Vicky or something? So Warren hangs up with Vicky saying that she's asking him all these stupid questions. Did y'all listen to the recording? Vicky was asking him, what's your coordinates? Where are y'all located? And he was like, let me see. You called the CETO to tell them that you're sinking, that y'all are sinking in water, in 31 feet of water. And when he finally gave over the coordinates of where they were located, did Miss Vicky not say, are y'all on Horn Island? Are y'all on the island, the actual island? Because if they were actually on Horn Island, then how they gonna be sinking when they on sand? The boat was not freaking sinking, y'all. I don't know if y'all hear me. There was no problem with the boat. The boat was not sinking. And another thing about the island, which I believe it was Warren who made it clear when he interviewed with Officer Tatum in the first interview, he said that you have the island, right? And then you have like maybe a mile or two worth of just sand. So when you pull up on a boat, you can't use the boat to go directly to the island because there's no like docking place, right? So you have to pull the boat up, and then you have to walk through some water to get to the island because it's a lot of dirt like right beside the island, like maybe like a mile or two worth of dirt. So if he gave the coordinates to Miss Vicky and she asking them, are y'all on Horn Island? The reason she asking them that is because you can't clearly be sinking if you're on the island. Make that make sense, okay? And we supposed to be listening to these boys because these are good gentlemen. They're good boys. No, them boys are liars. Because how you going to be sinking and water is steady piling up in the boat, yet the water was able to get out the boat, let Jax tell it. Warren was aggravated with the lady with Cito, even though he called Cito. Cito didn't call him. They're trying to assist him. She even went as far to call the captain and tell the captain, please go out there and check on these boys because they're saying they're sinking. The boat's filling up with water and they don't want to sink. And the captain tells Miss Vicky, oh no, I just got off the phone with the granddad. He says everything is fine. He's like, nah, I'm not. Are you sure? I'm like, I just got off the phone with the granddad. He just told me everything was fine. Y'all, it's clear that it's definitely some type of cover up, and I mean a cover up in the worst way, because in my opinion, what it seems like to me, in my opinion, that some adults knew about what happened with Nolan real quick, and some adults may be involved in the cover up for those boys, for those young men, because those are men. They're not boys, even though they are young, they're young men. But I believe that there are some adults that's involved in the cover up of Nolan Wells, which makes sense because when the lawyers went on Nancy Grace asked the lawyers, how did y'all get involved? Especially the one who represented Joe McCann and the Ashley Janae Robinson, who was Joe McCann's lawyer, involved in that. The lawyer, Edward Andrew Polzik, that's the lawyer who represented Joe McCann. Something like that. Polzik, he said, excuse me, he says, my throat is dry. He says, oh, Nancy, I can't tell you that. And that Nancy was like, hold up. The hell you mean you can't tell me how you end up becoming these boys' lawyer? Like, all out the blue, they just get they get one of the biggest lawyers because he is a huge civil lawyer. He fights a lot of defamation cases. So Nancy Grace was like, how did you end up being these boys' lawyers? And he says, well, I could tell you a little bit, okay? Somebody from the community contacted me. I end up contacting Cox, and then we end up working together to help these boys out. Now, I can't remember which one it is, but somebody's mother or stepmother is a judge. And then somebody granddad, which I think is Wyatt, but I'm not quite sure. Somebody granddad know the captain of the Cito. So to me, somebody got some deep connections. And a lot of phone calls have been made to keep these boys protected for some reason. And I wonder what that reason is. And at the same time, we still don't have no evidence, even though we still don't have the the autopsy to find out what the first findings were. Because remember, Nolan's body was found 2 days after he disappeared. So those findings should be way more advanced than the second medical examiner who examined the body. They should have a lot of information. But think about this, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be out. Okay, I'm gonna end this. It's always good to see you too, Dwight. You probably gone by now. Tag. I shouldn't have said that. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay, connections. All right, medical examiner. I'm trying to think back. Oh, okay. This is what I was gonna say. If the medical examiner in Mississippi did the autopsy and found out that this was a clear case of Nolan drowning, don't you believe that they would have put that information out there? Wouldn't that just be clear to say, oh, he drowned? The findings were that he drowned. Because you can tell if a person drowned by if they have water in their lungs and if they have water in their neck. I don't know if it's the esophagus or the trachea. One of them, I believe, would have like water in there or something, and then the lungs as well. But remember, Mississippi kept those parts of the body. So that couldn't be found out because if you check the lungs and there's no water in the lungs, then you know he didn't drown. And if he didn't drown, then how did he pass away? It would have had to be some foul play. This is a healthy boy. This was a very athletic boy. Okay? He had some major tryouts. I believe he was just about to start the football team, or he had something he was about to do involving the football team because he had just started. They were about to start school for real, for real. The season was about to start in August. But that Monday, which was the same day his body was found, he had like a big tryout or something that he was supposed to be doing. So you think he would ruin all that to hang out with a Katie girl? We ain't talking about your regular little young 18-year-old from the hood. We ain't talking about him. We talking about, not, I don't mean no disrespect, okay? We talking about somebody who's going places. Not to say that the person from the hood can't go nowhere, but we talk about Nolan, okay? I don't know the boy, but everything you hear and see looks pretty good, and it looks like this was a decent kid. And I'm believing what the parents say on this one right here, okay? I believe this boy was respectable, took his career serious, okay? Because he's going to college, because he got the grades to even go to freaking college. How many kids y'all know, okay, that's caring about college? Okay, that's focused enough to be on a team playing football, So Nolan was athletic. He knew how to swim, okay? So for him to be found washed up on shore 2 days later, and that's another thing. A lot of people are saying, who know about stuff like that, are saying normally bodies don't wash up on shore that quick. If they were out there in the water, normally it can take like weeks before the body wash up on shore. And then, mind you, again, Horn Island is very long. It's like real long, right? And then outside of Horn Island is about excuse me, it's like a couple miles worth of sand. So for him to be washed up, he, because I think he was found like washed up on the land, which would be weird because I don't know. I don't know. Y'all try to make some sense of it. Y'all leave me a comment in the comment section, okay? Tell me how y'all feel about it, what y'all think about this whole case. Have I said anything new to y'all about this information involving Nolan Wells? A lot of the stuff I said tonight, I never knew. I didn't even know. Okay, I just found out and I was super excited to come and tell you all so we could all stay updated about this. And I want to say real quick that the whole race thing is a problem not for us. Okay? You don't see black people out here hurting white people or Asian people, like you don't see that. Usually you see other races doing stuff to black people. So when we talk about racism, it's not because we want to be racist. It's because we're making the world aware of the stuff that we see that's plain as day. Okay? Mississippi has a huge reputation of being doing a lot of racist things. And so, yeah, we're going to put them on blast. We're going to stay on their necks, okay, about this case and all the other cases, okay? Because there was a girl who just got found, I think last week. She was hung. She had children. She had a whole family. Her family was all on the news saying they didn't get any information about what happened to her, just that she was found hung in a tree. But anyway, you guys, y'all tell me how y'all feel about this case and this information. You already know I'm going to stay on it. Okay, I'll be back with another one real soon. And yeah, peace, you guys. Oh, okay. This, when you talk about stuff like this, it just make me really feel like I want to say, I love y'all. Okay, be safe out here. Just be safe, y'all. Peace.